energy stocks and flows are converted to sustain the many applications and services of human societies. Over the last 50 years, the appropriation of energy resources has seen an unprecedented acceleration. This is shown by the time variation of the total primary energy supply, TPES. Different primary energy sources contribute to energy demand: coal, oil, gas, nuclear, hydro, and other renewables. In particular, other renewables include wind, geothermal, solar, commercial biomass, and wastes. Traditional uses of biomass are not included that refer to the use of solid biomass for residential cooking or space heating through the use of basic technologies. The total primary energy supply increased from around 150 exajoule in 1965 to 550 exajoule in 2014. This growth was driven by the addition of all the previously mentioned primary resources. In the same time period, the world population increased from 3.3 to 7.1 billion people. This means a world average per capita primary energy supply of 1.1 and 1.8 tons of oil equivalent respectively. Oil, gas, and coal consumption have driven the worldwide increase of primary energy demand with a share of growth of 27, and 29%. On the other side, adding up all renewable sources, the resulting contribution to the overall increase of TPES is only 10%. Especially, the share of other renewables is only 3%. The course of the last 10 years has not radically changed as reported by the estimates from the International Energy Agency. In this description, the aggregation level is changed with respect to the BP approach. Other renewables include geothermal, wind, solar, and tide energy, while bioenergy includes both modern and traditional uses of biomass. There are also some differences in accounting for hydro and nuclear energy that are related to the use of specific conversion factors. In absolute terms, the major share of growth of primary energy supply comes from coal and gas respectively. However, the contribution shared by other renewables was around 10%. Nuclear and oil primary energy demand has slightly reduced. In relative terms, in the last decade, renewable energy sources have grown at an average annual rate of around 2.5%, which is slightly higher than the growth rate of world TPES, that is 2%. The average annual growth rate of modern renewables that are wind, solar, geothermal, and tide was much higher, exceeding 11%. The world primary energy supply by fuel in 2013 can be analyzed using estimates from the International Energy Agency. Most of primary energy demand is supplied from fossil fuels with a total share of 81%. Especially coal is first ranking in 2013. Renewable sources account for 14% of the primary energy supply and include hydro, biofuels and wastes, geothermal, wind, solar and tide. A closer look at renewable sources shows that the major contribution to the primary energy supply comes from biofuels and wastes. The demand from hydro energy accounts roughly for 15 exajoule. Finally, geothermal, wind, solar and tide energy add up around 7 exajoule of primary energy. Due to its widespread non-commercial and traditional use in developing countries, solid biofuels are by far the largest renewable energy source at global level. Indeed, they represent around 9.5% of world TPES and 67% of global renewable energy supply, that is 51 exajoule. We want to investigate now how energy is used in the different final uses of human societies. In 2012, most of energy demand was devoted to the building sector, while uses in transport and industry were slightly lower. Other energy sector includes the use of energy by transformation industries and the energy losses in converting primary energy into a usable form. Furthermore, other final consumption includes agriculture and non-related energy use such as lubricants, asphalt or bitumen. Overall, the highest increase in final consumption from 1990 has occurred in the transport sector, followed by industry. The contribution of building, transport and industry sector to the final energy consumption were 28, 24 and 24% respectively. But which are the world regions that contributed to the increase of total primary energy demand? In 2012, TPES was around 220 exajoule and 325 exajoule for OECD and non-OECD countries respectively. The rate of increase in primary energy supply has been very different in the various world regions. Since 1990, the world TPES has grown at an average annual rate of 1.9%. On the other side, OECD and non-OECD countries had a growth rate of 0.7% and 3% respectively. Nevertheless, population of this grouping of countries was around 1.25 and 5.8 billion people respectively. This means an average per capita energy availability of 4.2 and 1.3 tons of oil equivalent respectively. These different regional trends shift the dynamics of global energy consumption away from the Americas and Europe towards Asia, to a lesser extent the Middle East and Africa. In fact, non-OECD countries contributed for around 85% to the growth of total primary energy demand in the period from 1990 to 2012. On the one hand, in the contemporary era, it is evident and proved that the availability and use of energy are essential for humankind in order to achieve well-being and society development. On the other hand, it is needed to answer to some major questions. Does energy control and use result in serious environmental, social and geopolitical troubles? Which are the most relevant tangible effects on the physical world? And how critical is the question of intangible effects on the immaterial dimension?